All right, we're going to get started here. Um, we're going to do Unit 11, and we're kind of switching gears now. We're still working on Project 2, and so we'll let you still work on Project 2. We'll give you maybe a little time at the end of class to work on that project, ask me questions. But we're also going to be moving on to our next technology here, and we're going to look at using AI more to write our code, do all, almost all of our coding and see if we can generate apps just through prompting here. So we're going to look at some tools for that. And so that'll be our final couple weeks here. We'll be doing what we call vibe coding here and trying that out as a resource. So this week there'll be a learning activity we'll do in class on Thursday to try to create an app with Firebase authentication, Firestore for the database. But we'll try to do this all without writing any code ourselves for this. And then there's no assignment. Instead, Project 2, Sprint 2, the kind of back end of your project is due here for this. We'll also talk about how we're going to do the reviews in a week when we want to walk through your projects. Last time we did it somewhat informally. This time we're going to do it a little more formally in that we're going to have you kind of do a code review here. So what we want you to do is select a piece of code that you want. You'll be assigned at least one partner, possibly two. I'm still determining the layout. So at least another student. You'll have to share that code with them ahead of time so that when Tuesday comes, you'll know someone else's code you have to review, and you're going to come with some questions, and they'll walk you through that code, and you have seen it before, and you'll do an actual code review is what we call it about that code. And then they will have seen your code and we'll walk through. So we'll have you both look at someone else's code and have someone else look at your code as part of this code review process here. This is pretty standard in a lot of industry where you're coding software development to do code reviews. So this is a kind of a step. It's not near as formal as in you often see out there. But again, it kind of gets you going in that area. It also is a good place where if you use AI maybe to do some of the coding, to kind of force yourself to make sure you understand what that code is, if you and walk through it there, it's a good time to maybe work on that stuff here. So again, Thursday we'll specify details of that. We'll want you to specify code. We'll assign you a partner there. So then the following Tuesday, we'll do that. And online students, I'm working on a way to do that with asynchronous students. I think I'm going to have you meet up via Zoom or some other ways individually and arrange a meeting for that. So that'll be Thursday. I'll specify details on it for this, and then we'll do it the following Tuesday. And then again, online students will have most of next week to coordinate some time to do that with a partner. So, okay. So what are we going to do? Today, we're going to go into Unit 11 here and look at Firebase Studio and how we can use AI to do coding with Firebase Studio. So I'm going to go there here. Another thing I'm going to try to fit in, I don't know where I'm going to fit it in. I may just do a recording of it, is a mini lecture on iOS development here. Again, one of the nice things with Flutter is that you can do iOS, you can develop an actual iOS app that you can put on the Apple Store there, but you need a Mac to do that. Even though you can create the basic stuff in Flutter to actually do the final production stuff, you need a Mac. We do have a couple Macs we could lend out, and that's just something. So if it's something you're really interested in, or if you have a Mac, you can talk to me. But I'll try to post. Again, it's not something that's maybe applicable to everyone. So I'll see. This is a mini lecture from before last time I taught the class, but I haven't updated it. So I'll try to figure out when I want to do that, have that available, and update that. So okay, let's jump into Firebase Studio here, and look at that. Enough light so we can get into the vibe coding atmosphere here. Okay, I'm going to start with this article from Google Cloud on vibe coding here. The well, have you heard of the term? Is vibe coding something you've heard? Because from what I understand, the term have only been around for a year now, so it's a relatively new term for things there. So I think in order to do it, we have to get into the right vibes, from what I understand. So I don't know if we need to play some, funky 80s or maybe 70s music would be the good vibe to do. I don't know if you need music to do vibe coding or not there, but we're just going to follow our lead here. So yes, basically what we're trying to do is look at, can we use AI to do this? And there are whole resource tools that are set up there. So we're going to kind of understand this process where we describe our goal, AI generates the code, it executes, we run it, we provide feedback and repeat, and we'll actually walk through the steps with AI Studio that do this in just a sec. They're slightly different than what are outlined here, but that's the basic goal here. And general things that fit like what we see in other places, that we do a lot of ideation and iterative development here. So it's mainly focused on getting a good idea and figuring out what that is, then generation with AI, and then iterative refinement, adding features and stuff like that for this. It can also involve testing, validation, and then deployment. Question is, where will this, if you're actually going to be using this, where will it run? Initially, we're going to be, again, this is a mobile apps course. And so initially, it's weird to do this in mobile apps because we're going to be doing web apps. Now, one of the reasons is that a lot of apps that you run on your phone now can be web apps. They actually run in a browser, but you may not actually see that there. They'll be there. So, but we'll start looking at web apps, but then we'll turn next week or the following week and look at like creating Flutter apps or other types of apps with this same sort of deployment. So we'll be able to create a Flutter app with this sort of vibe coding with Firebase Studio, for example. So, so yeah, this kind of walks you through the difference here that you can do, some tools for getting started. And again, this is from Google Cloud, so they're just outlining the Google tools. So I thought I'd outline what I think are the main tools that are out there for this. So I think Lovable is a huge one that's here. What did Lovable? Finance. I thought they got 200 million, but I thought they just got recently yeah, right. They're looking to raise billions of dollars here to fund their project here. So there's a lot of money being put into companies like this here. So Lovable is a company, again, basically an AI first company is just set up to do this and build software with this AI prompt. Basically is limited to web apps running React and Tailwind, for example. And then they have an environment where they host the app for you, and they'll host it and run it for you. I'm not sure what they're using as far as I'm not sure what Supabase is. Is anyone familiar with that? I assume that's the database they're using, and it's their kind of version of the backend database. So I don't know what they're using for user authentication, that sort of stuff. But they build that. So that's one. Replit, you probably have heard of Replit before. I think we've even used it in other places. So it's an online, a browser-based coding interface. It's been around for years, but now they have transformed into an agent for coding here. So, and again, mainly limited to browser-based web apps that it creates here. We have a fair amount of funding going there. Cursor is probably the biggest tool out there for AI assisted coding, right? So in a lot of places, when you're writing code, your company will pay for Cursor. I haven't used Cursor. Has anyone used Cursor? No. So again, it's kind of like the main competitor to things like GitHub Copilot. I should put GitHub Copilot on you too, I guess. Well, but I guess Cursor is that sort of stuff. But they have Cursor Composer here, which is more of a full AI assistant, not just an AI assistant, but a AI agent that will create apps for you there. So I guess that's why I didn't put GitHub Copilot on here, because again, it's more of an AI assistant to help you with your coding. I don't think there's an option with GitHub Copilot to have it create, basically go in agent mode and generate your whole app for you. I don't know. I haven't run either on that much here. Bolt is another one here. Again, building web apps. So there's a lot of money being spent in this area. So in the Google world, again, then going back to here, here's the 3 Google environments here. We'll be using Firebase Studio here. It was originally bought by Google and renamed to Firebase Studio, and just for web apps, but they've added frameworks for Flutter and native apps and things like that. So you can do like C# coding and stuff, different frameworks within it there. Google AI Studio. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. So GitHub Copilot. Yeah. And that's pretty common, because I think a number of like Cursor, I think, is a clone of VS Code for that. I was talking to someone about they're going through our software design course, which uses Visual Studio there, but he's using a VS Code, and whether or not we should be transitioning from Visual Studio to VS Code, because VS Code seems to be a very popular interface now. So yeah, and a lot of these things are based on VS Code's design here too. Okay. How about Google AI Studio? Has anyone used that? So that's an interesting, it started basically as a playground for Google tools to try them out. They would kind of put them in this area. And I think it's open to everyone. Originally, it wasn't open to everyone here that you could work on. And so the newest stuff is often here. So like their new video generators, their newest generators for images. What is the banana one? Put that here. Yeah, Nano Banana is here, which is their new generator. there. There's a lot of news nowadays on Google Gemini 3. So there's a preview now of I haven't been able to get it very much, but in some places and some accounts, particularly in AI Studio, you can do a preview of Gemini 3, which is supposed to be a much better, smarter, again, AI agent for this. So you can build different things. Again, there's still this playground. You can vibe code apps. You can chat. You can try out Gemini 3. VO is video generation. Banana is their image generation sort of stuff. So again, it is somewhat of a playground and somewhat of a build area for things here. So again, if you're not using it, it's a fun place. But again, we won't be using it. But again, you can use it to generate full apps there. And then we have been using this Gemini Code Assistant, right? So that is what you see when you run, like in machine learning, where you run Colab and you're coding in Python in Colab, and the Gemini Assistant is right there. And in Android Studio, when running that, Gemini Assistant is right there. Also, it's filling in with your autocomplete, so you can type in a comment and it'll fill in from that comment often, or you can go in and type things in there. It's supposed to be good be aware of your whole code base in that IDE. I find it's not the greatest. I often have to point it to certain files or remind it where files are when I'm working here. So unlike I think what I've heard is like GitHub Copilot is much better at looking at your whole code base. So if you have a project with 10 files, being aware of all 10 code files and what they do here. But that's what we're using. And again, you can switch this on, right? If you've been in Android Studio here, you can switch on agent mode here. So, which gets close to this. So again, normally you're in chat mode where you're just typing in a prompt to get some answers or something like that. But you can switch it to now agent preview mode just disappeared. Oh yeah, here. Why is agent preview mode? I think because I'm still building this, but you can switch to agent preview mode. And so you can select what model you want to be going through. And also, you can switch it to auto accept changes. So then because normally it wants to change a file and ask you. If you switch it to auto accept changes, it will just start coding for you and doing and automatically accepting all the code stuff. It gets kind of scary when it does that, but you can switch it to that mode here. Okay, but of all these tools, I'm picking. I picked Firebase Studio for us to look at. So let's just watch this quick video. I think it's too long to watch the whole thing, but I'll pop it up and we'll see. It's 3 minutes. That's not too bad. So. Again, this is from Google, so this is biased, of course.
Full stack web apps faster than ever. We're excited to introduce Firebase Studio, your AI-powered development environment now available for preview. Firebase Studio not only helps you go from idea to a fully functional app.
So notice I said now available in preview, so we can use it, but it's still kind of in beta, and we'll run into problems with it. So.
By leveraging the power of generative AI, it also is a fully fledged development environment accessible from anywhere. Assignment. Let's start with the app prototype. Imagine you have an idea for an app that generates an inspirational quote and then an image-based template. Instead of starting from scratch, we can just describe our idea into Firebase Studio. Log into your Google account and then open up Firebase Studio to get started. Enter a description of the app that you want to build. In this case, we'll use the prompt to prototype an app that will generate images and text with generative AI. Click on Prototype with AI. Firebase Studio generates an app blueprint based on your prompt, returning a proposed app name, required features, and style guidelines. This is the stage where you can really start to think about what you want your app to do. You can suggest new features or UI themes, and it'll generate a new.
So we'll go over these steps, these in just a sec. I've copied each one of these steps into our kind of workflow, and we'll walk through these in just a sec. So yeah, we'll do the blueprint and modify that.
If you do not want an AI feature or want something completely different, edit the PRD and remove it. For example, let's change the app name and color scheme. Make sure to be as detailed as possible if you have something specific in mind. Click Prototype this app and watch the magic happen as Firebase Studio at prototyping. Scaffold and builds out your app. Because we asked for an AI feature, Firebase Studio prompts us for a Gemini API key. We can then click Auto Generate to get a key and a brand new Firebase project. Now let's take a look at what we got. Click on Generate to create a new image quote. If you want to check out the Firebase project we just created, click on the new name in the app header. Now let's take a look at the code. Firebase Studio gives you a fully functional code editor powered by CodeOSS, the open source fork of VS Code. You have full control over the generated code. Want to tweak the UI, add a new feature, or debug the code? No problem, we have you covered. You can use the built-in chat functionality to ask questions and get suggestions from our AI assistant. You can even change the built-in model if you have a preferred one or want to try out an experimental one from the Google AI API. You can see your changes in real time with the built-in preview. And when you're ready to share your app with the world, you can publish it with Firebase App Hosting. After publishing, you can continue to make changes and roll them out when you're ready. Now, while we show off the app prototyping payment flow, that's not all you can do with Firebase Studio. You can import existing projects from a zip file or source control, or start with one of our many Firebase Studio templates. Firebase Studio is an agentic cloud-based development environment that helps you build and ship production-quality full-stack AI apps, including APIs, backends, front-ends, mobile, and so much more. From AI-powered prototyping to an all-in-one cloud-based development environment accessible from anywhere, it has everything you need to help make your app idea a reality. If you have an idea for an app you've been wanting to build, try it out now with the app prototyping feature with Firebase Studio.
Okay, so that's our introduction to Firebase here. And there's some good documentation that'll walk you through these steps here. But I think we're going to kind of skip down here and do it. I'll just point out a couple more. So there's documentation here that you can look at that'll walk you through different parts here. And how to get started with that. This is in prototype, so I found this interesting. Their roadmap is what I would call almost a sprint chart. It shows what tests are in progress, what things are in their future backlog, and which tasks are completed here. So it's kind of interesting to have that posted on what they're working on for this. And then there's a community there, a forum where people are asking questions and doing that sort of stuff. So the normal development community for a new product is available here. So let's run Firebase here and set this up. So you can click on this Firebase Studio, or you can just Google Firebase Studio. So you want to add the studio because we don't want to necessarily be in Firebase. Although if you go to Firebase now, the big banner at the top says, oh, you should use Studio because it's so cool. So, okay, so we go to Firebase Studio. I'm hoping this works for you in the lab. I've tried it out, but again, I found sometimes I have different rights as a user. I've gotten onto different beta programs at Google or stuff like that. So hopefully this will work with your I think it'll work with your CSS Google ID. Called Gemini is generally blocked. I believe this will work on campus. So we're just going to try out Firebase Studio. Again, I'm logged in with my CSS account up at the top here, and I'm not up. And again, we're going to just step through these. We're going to generate an initial prompt, have AI refine that prompt, and then it will create a blueprint and we'll refine that blueprint. So those are our first two steps. So here's our initial prompt there. Now, I came across from a friend we a huge collection of Hallmark ornaments, Christmas ornaments that I have. So all of a sudden I have 100 Hallmark Christmas ornaments, and so I think, well, maybe I want to be, I'm the type of guy who wants to collect and trade Hallmark Christmas ornaments. But but we're going to do an app. Well, I'm going to do an app for that. You can do whatever app you want here for this. So that's my app here. And you can see I've already tried this before. I'm going to do it again here. So but type in some description. If you want that, you want to do the same I'm doing, that's fine. But I encourage you to be creative here. So I want an app that will keep track of my new collection of antique. I think antique might be a stretch. They're all from like 2008. They came from this basement we're cleaning out this weekend. So antique, Hallmark Christmas, or you want to provide some detail of this. So I like, what information do you want? So and again, you can add some of this stuff, but I find if you add it now, it's good. So what do I want? I want to track the name of each ornament, a description, the estimated value, and a photo of it. It's nice to include some, features like that. So again, I didn't specify if I will take the photo or we'll get the photo off the internet, but I'll just leave it there for now for this. And again, I'm not going to specify right now that I want users to log in. I just want to make this app just for me for now. But again, later on when we start using Firebase, like when we do on Thursday, we'll want to be more specific on, we want users to be a login and stuff like that. I'm not going to worry about that necessarily here. But at some point, I want to click on this improve prompt here, and it will try to look at this prompt and try to refine it here. And again, if you watch the tutorials on this, a lot of things say you should actually go to like ChatGPT or something and type in your prompt and have it refine your prompt and then create a design document. But this is actually kind of built in. An elegant collection tracker app for antique Hallmark Christmas ornaments. Key features include adding new ornaments with a name, description, estimated value, photo upload. So they added the photo upload. I like that. Viewing a gallery of all the collected ornaments and editing individual ornaments and details. And it doesn't say delete, and I could add that now, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to add that in a little bit when we get to the next step. Use deep red, and I don't want gold, I want green colors for Christmas. So again, you can edit this idea here. And again, now it's going to create a blueprint, which is a bigger document describing this. So I'm going to hit prototype here, and it will create a book. Now, as I'm going through that, I should have shown you at the bottom, there were all the different frameworks. And we're just going to use the default web framework for the first time here, rather than trying to have it create a Flutter or some other framework app. But you can look at all the different framework templates they have down below here. And again, for this first one, I suggest you kind of just leave the development here. You can tell it like, I'll create this as a React app or use this sort of stuff. I'm just going to try to leave it basically as is here. Okay, so here's my blueprint. Holiday Heirlooms is the name here. And again, you can prompt and change it, or you can just customize it here. So I'm gonna show you both so I can hit customize here. The app name is Holiday Heirloom. So this is a Hallmark collection, and they have H's here, and they didn't put Hallmark in it. I mean, come on, be creative, people. So Holiday Hallmark, I think I have to call it. Um, Heirlooms. There. That sounds better. Okay, so you can edit it here if you want. That's one way. Or you can do it in my prompts. I want to say, oh, I want to be able to delete ornaments from my collection also. And again, you can specify design feature. So app features, I'll kind of up about what you can do, style or design guidelines here, and then what is the stack tools to be used here. Here. So like, and maybe I want to, maybe I'm a big fan of the material UI. Use material UI in the design, including material UI icons and fonts. So I can specify something like that if I want. And again, I could just edit this and do that, or I can type in the prompt and it'll regenerate and start saying using UI, material UI grid and card components and material UI default font and material UI icons. So it added that throughout here. So I've got my deletion, I've got my layout here. Now I'm going to hit prototype. You can wait, I mean, you can add some more. I'm going to hit prototype because it's going to take a while and I want it to start going. So the first thing it's going to do is generate this docs/blueprint. Basically, this is my blueprint document and it will store that in the app. So it can reference that, and you can go in and edit or change that later on too. If you find you want to add features to it and it doesn't seem to remember that, you might want to add it to the blueprint. So there's this blueprint document that's in the app that's referenced. And a lot of these apps will do something like that. They'll have some what I would call meta files that'll describe the app and what we're doing in the app. And what AI should be using and kind of the framework that we have here. So for example, if later on we wanted to change the framework to use like React or something like that, we would want to maybe go in and change, prompt it, but also change the blueprint here. And again, or tell it to change it in the blueprint. So, okay. So now we just wait and it is going to be reasoning. We're going to be creating a bunch of files and eventually, so here, where are we at? So here we started with the initial prompt. We improved the prompt. We got our blueprint here. Oh, and I should just mention, I didn't show you earlier, at the initial page, these are the different templates that you can work on here for this. And you can also import a repo from GitHub. So if you have any initial project on GitHub, you can bring it in here and edit it for this. This is really nice if you then want to export it back to, GitHub too. Starting with even a semi-blank repo isn't bad. And again, we can specify like Python or Java, Flutter. This is the Flutter symbol here, Anchor. What's the A? Angular, what's the A library job? Angular, yes, not Anchor, Angular there for this. And there are other ones here that you have. So those are all available. But again, we're just starting with the basic stuff here. Okay, so now, and we edited the blueprint and now we're generating, it should be generating these files, all the things. And again, we specified to use TypeScript rather than JavaScript. Well, what did I say? Yeah, it should be doing TypeScript, Next.js, and Tailwind for this. What is Tailwind? I don't really do that much JavaScript. Is that a UI thing in JavaScript?
It's a CSS library.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. So it's a CSS library. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Okay. So now it's gone through and created an initial app. So now we're into this phase where we can refine this app. So after a few minutes, it should create this app for us. Now, because we're just doing the basic web app, there's only a web preview here. Like when we go into Flutter, it will actually create, and they'll have multiple tabs up here. One for your web view, and one, it'll run an Android emulator in a window here and show your app as it looks on an Android device. I haven't looked at how to do if you can emulate an iOS device on this yet here. But this is just web because we're just starting off simple here. So again, here's my thing. And now we start testing it out. I don't have unit tests or anything like that yet, but I do want to check out features because it tends to put lots of things here that aren't actually wired together there. So then you often have to ask it to do more things. So for example, can I add an ornament? Figure tree. It's the only ornament of my 100 ornament collection that I actually remember that looked cool, and it was Tiger and a Christmas tree. So, okay. This is Pooh's, Tiger, jumping on a tree. Estimated value is probably $3. I don't know. And photo URL, it puts this. So every time you do this, it'll do it a little differently. Last time I did this, it didn't include the photo URL here for this. This time it is interesting for this. So I'm just going to leave that and save this for this. So it'll generate a photo supposedly for us. So now you can start asking your questions. So again, I added the ornament. Can I search? If I click on one of these, can I do things? What is this? So there's an edit and delete here. So maybe I want to have things like the edit and delete button down here on each card. So I can ask it. So again, I should have, again, I don't have the code window up yet. I don't have code view. So all I have is the preview and then my prompt. So now I can make some prompts. So maybe I want to, let's say, can you move the delete option from the, what's the ... menu called? I don't know, ... menu to the right of the estimated value on each card. It is kind of useful to understand some development. So I noticed that it should be using like cards here, that these things should be called cards or whatever. So I mean, I think if you use the right terminology here, hopefully your prompt will be going through. So I prompt it. It will think, it'll try to update that, it'll refresh. Well, I think it'll ask me to approve the changes by default. So again, try this out, generate this, try to have it change things and stuff like that. And also have you ask it to explain. Okay, so now it moved the delete right here. Edit is there. And so it did that for me. I didn't have to, it updated ornament card. So again, it actually using a card file for this stuff. And it's actually telling me where the file is, source components ornament card.tsx. So that's my TypeScript file out there. I want to know like where it's getting the pictures. So maybe you can ask it about the code. Where are the images coming from? Are you generating these? Are they being stored on the server? Okay, I'll just do that first. So you can ask it about things. A lot of times, like this initial one, it'll be doing stuff that it isn't permanent. So like if you add an element now, it's not saving it anywhere, probably. So if you refresh this page or if the server restarts, anything you added probably goes away. There's probably just a couple hard coded, like, and it does kind of what you do when you first prototype an app. When you first created an app, you probably create a list, a local list with the ornaments in there and the URLs to some images. So it's probably doing the same thing. It's not storing any of this on Firebase, I would think, initially. Okay, so images are coming from Unsplash, a popular source of free usable images. And again, I did the same prompt yesterday, and it stored images, again, it's not consistent because again, it's like a generative creative AI environment. So I'm not generating them. They are defined as a URL here in this place. Oh, so there's a file with placeholder images. This file acts as a central place to manage all placeholder images in your apps. The data from this file is used to populate that sort of stuff. So again, no way to upload images. They're not stored. And again, that would be a big step here. How about the data? So where is the data for each ornament stored? Is it stored on the client or server or in the cloud? Are you using Firestore or something like that to store the database yet? I'll just tell you, it's not yet for that. The initial set of ornaments are defined in this file. When you load the app, the data is loaded into the page state. In addition, edits and deletions you make only affect in-memory copy and it'll be lost when you refresh the page. We are not using a database like Firestore yet, but that's a great next step. Yes, if you'd like, and it's asked me to do that. And I'm not going to do that yet because I find it's struggling with that a little bit, but I will. You can try that out. Well, certainly Thursday, that'll be the goal. Thursday is to get this all set up with Firebase authentication and Firestore for this stuff. I've been surprised at how poor the integration with Firebase is, given that this is called Firebase Studio here. But just it looked like they've changed it in the last week from when I started using it a week ago to now. Yesterday, it looked like they've improved it. So I'm interested to see how that works here. Okay, we can go back to this. Now I just want to switch to the code view. And this is the main reason I chose this rather than some of the other ones, is this ability to switch to code view. So I'm going to make this fuller screen because it's going to get real wide. Okay, so up here, again, not too many options are available. If I look around here, I can go back to Firebase and create a new project. This is the project I'm on. I can select an item. So again, I can pick on something and tell it to change this or something like that. I can share this with others. I can run this full screen. I can refresh this. I can reload the app, the page, or restart the whole app here. So there's some things I can do up here, but not a whole lot. And I can prompt. So this is a real basic interface. I can't control which AI model I'm using or stuff like that in this, just so you know. Okay, now I'm going to switch to code view. So that was the prototype view. So in code view, it'll reopen. And this is based on VS Code. So if you've used VS Code before, you'll see it. So we'll have our files on the left-hand side here. We'll have our tools also on the left-hand side, and there'll be like the source control window, the Explorer. So this is the Explorer showing all of our tools here. So these are our different things. There are some options down here, outline, timelines down here. So I have this. This is my code window. So let's go into source and open up a source. So under components, the ornament card was like one of the things that was there for this. And again, when we delete, there's a delete confirmation window. So again, I can open up and look at these actual files here. Okay. So this is my kind of editor, and I can edit right here. And this is my preview. And again, notice that since I switched, it's a dynamic page. So since it's now narrower, it's only displaying one ornament at a time. So it's, a nice website. What's the term for when your layout searches adaptive? What? Responsive. Is that what you said? Yes. Thanks, Alex. Yes, it's a responsive website. So that, again, where it was 2x2 in the other view, it's one here. And again, here's my AI prompt over here. And again, we can resize these here. And you can close the different ones if you don't want some of them. And again, right now, I only have a web tab up here, but again, when we're using stuff like that would have an Android, there might be an Android. So far, like when I do Flutter, I see a web tab and an Android tab, and I'll run a full Android editor or emulator here also. So with this. So again, you can edit code or you can ask AI to edit the code here. You have much better control over the AI here. Here under Gemini, you can click on, nope, that's not what I want. Well, I guess I thought there was, so there are settings. But again, this keeps changing. Oh, like if I switch to, I'm gonna display that. I thought there was a way to select which AI model you're using. I was able to do that earlier, I thought. Interesting. No, I'm not seeing mine, but I think there's a way to set that. Maybe it was over here in this manage stuff there. But again, you have much better control over this. You can still, again, hot reload, full reload, or do a hard start here. You can, again, type in web addresses or web pages that you're in if you're not in, if you're in multiple web pages and stuff like that. So it's again, and over here you've got, like, if you want to push this to GitHub, what we'll want you to do on Thursday is create an app and then publish this to GitHub. I haven't tested that out entirely. What I read, I'm still not quite sure if we should start with a GitHub, blank GitHub repository and build on that, or else publish from here. So I'll make sure I have that working by Thursday for us. So, okay. And again, but now I'm going to actually close the code stuff for now so I can see this and do some more prompting, because we're supposed to be doing vibe coding, Tom. So try to add the stuff. So maybe I want to change something here. So I want to be able to click on a box to edit it, or maybe double click. So I would like to be able to click or double click on a card to edit it rather than select edit from the menu. So it is changing the code here. I can click on that code. It'll show me, you know, again, the diff, the before and after of what it's changing on that code if I want for this. And then it's updated it for me here. So now I think I'll have to reload the page to see this. So I have to reload the page. And if I click on an image, if I double click on an image, it opens it up in the edit window in the same way. So now it only has the delete. It says delete under the dot, dot, dot. I want to get rid of that. So, you know, again, you can just go through and edit, try to do your coding here. Try to do more complicated things. So at some point, I'll let you play with this a little, and then we'll talk about trying to do some Firebase stuff to this. So I'll just be quiet and let you play with this for a while. So how's it going? We had some report that Microsoft Edge browser was incompatible with this. So I'd like to see if anyone else is using Edge. Yeah, it looks like Edge doesn't like this. So interesting to see if any other browsers have issues with this here. Edge was just reporting it as an insecure site here. Interesting. I'm just going to do a little bit more, and then I'll let you either continue to play with this or work on your project too a little bit today if you have questions with that. I'm going to so I show you two things. I did just check out the source control. So if you switch here to source control, you can just push this branch. It'll ask you to confirm this in GitHub. It'll give you a key that you can copy, and then open up a GitHub window, have you log into GitHub and paste that key in. So I was able to do that. And then once I've done that, it will open it up. You can see it. So this is just the name. It's not a great name for this project, but it's, again, created this and pushed the code over here to GitHub for that. So it seemed like if you switch to the source control option, pushing it to GitHub is not too hard. I just made some changes here. So again, I should be able to sync the changes. So removed card menu. And I'll push those changes up to GitHub too. Here. I'm going to just walk through Firestore a little bit, and we'll see how that works today. Like I said, I've tried it last week and had some issues. Finally was able to get to work, but it looks like as of yesterday, it looked like a little better option. So I'm going to try down here. So again, I don't have Firestore in Firebase set up here. And again, it'll require, so I'm going to open up Firebase Studio or Firebase Console here so I can just see that. So okay, so again, there are a couple options. I could create a new Firebase project here and enable certain things here and then tell it to use an existing Firebase project. Or like I could, if I have multiple apps wanting to share the same data, I can do that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, again, say, well, let's say I don't know how to use Firebase Console. I'm just going to have to ask it to do that. So I'm going to say, I'm not going to do user authentication right away. I'm just going to see if it can store the data. I want to store the ornament data in a new Firebase project using Firestore. Can you create a new Firebase project and set up Firestore and change this code to use that. So I'm just gonna type that in and see how it does. Excuse me. My experience from the past is that it could create a new Firebase project, but it had trouble configuring everything up. So it says setting up Firebase services. Again, this is kind of new, experimental. Connect to Firebase, set up service. So it's setting up both Firebase authentication and Firestore. Again, this is what it wasn't doing just even last week. So again, last week it would create a blank Firebase project here. I had to go over here, and then I had to, when you go to one of these projects, you've got to enable Firebase authentication here, and then say what kind of Firebase authentication, and go to Firestore and enable that and set up the rules for that manually. But it looks like it is trying to connect to that now. So we'll see how this goes. It looks promising.
So you just told it to
Yeah,
Firebase something.
yeah. I just told it, my prompt was, I want to store the ornament data in a new Firebase project using Firestore. Can you create a Firebase project and set up this? I think if you said anything like that, it would do it. Well, it would try. It's starting this little wizard to set up Firebase services. Yeah, okay, so it failed. Connect to Firebase project, failed to get the Firebase project. Apologize, I had trouble creating a Firebase project. It seems a temporary issue. Could you please try again in a few moments here? So, okay, I'm going to try to create a new Firebase project and try that, because again, in the past I've had luck there. So I'm going to do, well, it looks like, yeah, this is a one I used for another project when I was testing this out, a slightly different project. But again, it has this, but it doesn't have this. So I'm going to go in here and enable authentication with username and password, and I'm going to enable Firestore. Create a database standard. All this is fine, default, and configure it in test mode. So it'll be, excuse me, good for the next 30 days, and create that. So I'm creating a Firebase project, and now I'll see if, now that I have that, go back here to this. Let me go back. I'm trying to figure out the name of this project. So yeah. Now I'm going to ask it, can you connect to an existing Firebase project? And I'm going to paste that in there. I want to be able to store my ornament data in Firestore in this project. So we'll see if it can connect to an existing Firestore project where I've enabled the things. Because again, it said it was supposed to be able to do that, and maybe if I just tried again, it would. But yeah, it is still having trouble connecting to a Firebase project. So. Oh, I hit start, now I've connected. So let's see if that'll work. So again, it has to then register its app here. So when we're in Firestore and we're in an app here, we have to register each app here for this. So it has to go through an ad, like it, and it might have to have both a web app and a Android app or a Flutter app here, and download the configuration file into its code there. So it should be doing that now. So we'll see if it's doing that. And again, in my past last week, it wasn't doing. I had to manually do that for it. So let's see if it's can do that now. And again, our goal on Thursday will be to go through this. So I'm going to just let this run. And so Thursday, I've tried this all out again before Thursday. And Thursday, we'll actually go through and try to create a new app or modify an existing app and get Firestore all set up. So rest of the day, you can continue to play with this if you want, or if you want to work on your project, you can. Project 2 in Flutter. So, okay. Okay, just a quick note. I've been running this Firebase stuff for like at least 5 minutes here, and it's still trying to set that up there. I wanted to show you how to get a little better AI here. If you go into AI settings, you probably want to set up a Gemini API key. You certainly do need this if you're going to use some of the tools in your app, but I think it also lets you do this. So we're just going to generate an API key here. I have some already generated here under they're set up for the free tools. I'm just going to use one of those, I think. Unless I have to generate a new one. Now, if I go back here and I paste this in, and then you can, I think, switch and try different Gemini models out here for this stuff. Let's see if I save this. Look, but again, Firebase is still not working. By Thursday, I'll figure out how to try to get this working. Last week, I had to do a number of tweaks to get to working, and it looks like they've changed things. So I'll make sure by Thursday we've got this hopefully working way to get this to work there. So, okay. So if you hit get API key, interesting. Create an API key. You might need to select create a project here. So give it some name. I think you have to create a project there and then give a name to your key. So. Yeah, then it should create the key. It should create it in the free tier for you automatically. And then if you, let's see, where did I put this? Here. If you click on it, you can copy the API key here. Just a copy key. And then go back here and paste that in there. Close this. So I'm going to stop this and try it again. It's not working. So yeah, you can always hit stop down there and run it. So, okay.